the Page Publishing Book Club. How you doing? I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. We're going to kick off the show with a little controversy. I mean, why not? There's plenty to go around. The author of our first book, American Apocalypse, analyzes some of the narratives ultra-conservative groups and the White House are broadcasting and attempts to uncover the truth.
Hi, I'm Rose Louise Smith. I live in Royalton, Illinois, which is in southern Illinois, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. What inspired me to write the book? Basically, a combination of things. I'm a former soldier, a historical researcher by trade, and I felt compelled to refute all the multitude of lies and inaccuracies and the propaganda that Trump and his administration have been projecting for the past 4 years, along with the detrimental effects that I see radical evangelicals pushing into our political system. We were never meant to be a Christian nation. We were meant to be a nation of law and order and all get along together because we were all supposed to be from everywhere in the world, all melted down together to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's really the glaring propaganda that's trying to dismantle our American political system and putting their warped, twisted, radical religious views on what our morals and ethics should be.
For instance?
Okay, well, right now we got QAnon going on where they're saying that all the Democrats are satanic worshipers. That's way, way out there and way radical, and would be a complete evangelical propaganda piece to talk about. I mean, you have some who are a liberal, I will say that. But like, look at Jimmy Carter. He's an evangelical, but he is one of the good ones. But for the most part, the radical ones that I see around here in particular, like a personal experience, I've been told being a Catholic, my children are going to burn in hell because we don't go to their evangelical church. That bothers me. Everybody has the right to liberty. Everybody has the right to religion or no religion. Everybody has the right to live and be happy and not be twisted into some warped reality of right or left. The thing that kicked this off was Trump comparing himself to Andrew Jackson, and being a historical researcher myself, I knew he was lying. Would talk about how he was so like Andrew Jackson and that Jackson was this great pioneer for the nation. That's not true at all. At the time, Jackson was considered a buffoon. Even Jefferson hated him, and they thought he was ridiculous. And the fact that he overstepped and forcibly marched the Native Americans who had legally retained their land through a Supreme Court battle through the Trail of Tears really and truly is the epitome of the worst president up till now. Trump's idea of what America should stand for bothers me. It's not anything what our founders had envisioned. Trump's vision of not tearing down Confederate monuments, the exact opposite of American values. We don't value people who've committed crimes like treason, which is what the Confederate generals did. And yet the South with the KKK putting up these monuments is what propagated the prolonged systematic racism in the South.
Why weren't we taking them down as soon as they went up? That's the question.
Because it was old white men in charge, and all this bothers me and stems from the fact that I grew up in Watertown, Massachusetts, and I am a New Englander by heart, and I guess revolution runs in my blood.
So listen, how are you drawing attention to your book?
Through social media. I have a friend whose son does podcasts, and he's going to be interviewing me within the next few weeks for that. Mostly it's been through word of mouth and family, but a little bit of social media as well.
All right, Rose Louise, thanks so much for your perspective. A former business executive, management consultant, NYU adjunct professor, and lecturer at St. Peter's College, Bill Cain believes Americans need to become more educated voters. He provides us with a sort of guide in his book entitled Unintended Consequences, Transforming America, How and Why We Came to This Place. So, Bill, you started writing in 2010, and in 2019, while you were writing another book, tell us what happened.
There was a vote in the Senate, and it had to do with aborting a child who had survived an abortion and came to full term. And it was prohibiting aborting a child who was the product of a failed abortion. And that's infanticide. This has nothing to do with what you believe about abortion or whatever. I said, how did we get to this place? And so I said, I'm going to redo my book, and I'm going to direct it toward how we came to this place. The premise of the book is that being a citizen requires more than just being a resident. Anyone who is intending to vote, I believe, should read this book. And if you don't intend to vote, you should read this book to understand why you should vote. Unintended Consequence is a primer in contemporary civics, the study of the rights and duties of citizenship. Its purpose to encourage them to think, to inspire them, to question, challenge, validate, explore. It's intended to demonstrate how legislative policies have historically led to unintended consequences that then required additional legislation to resolve the unforeseen outcome. Most government programs are based on noble ideas. National security to assist the poor, to provide a head start, to provide a safety net for those who lack medical coverage. While some societal good has come from these programs, enormous debt has come. More often than not resulting in any correction of the problems that they were originally intended to do. There's a chapter on our national moral compass, the media, education, the economy, slavery, racisms, and reparations. There's a chapter on wars. I go through, historically, legislation that has brought us to this toxic place we're in today. I tend to fill the gap that has been left with our education system today. I'll give you an example. Some educators have told me that history being taught today in public schools starts with the end of the Civil War, the Reconstruction. So the children are being led to a place that is truly unfair. It's unbalanced. So what I try to do with this book is fill the gaps where people were either not informed because of the bias in our education system or because they're just too busy doing other things to be aware of how we came to the place we are. 40% of millennials have some positive feeling towards socialism. And my belief is that's because that was how they were taught. I don't believe we can continue down this path. I do believe our future is in our hands. I've been asked to do a series of seminars at a community college when I get back to Florida. And I will be doing a series of book signings when I get to Florida. My local bookstore, Books and Greetings in Northvale, New Jersey, brought the book in. And when I walked into the store and I saw the book sitting on the counter, it was a rush.
Sure, absolutely.
It was a rush.
All right, quite an undertaking, Bill. I will give you that. Did you know the road to Detroit is paved in opportunities you've never imagined? Our next author shows us the way in his book, Which Way is Detroit?
Hello, my name is Herb Strather, and I'm a real estate developer in Detroit. I'm an urban developer, and also I teach real estate, Strather Academy. We are creating the next generation of developers. I'm an urban activist and advocate, along with a youth advocate. And I just so happen to have the distinguished honor of closing more deals in Detroit than any other Detroiter in history.
Geez, Herb, what makes you special?
What makes me special? Well, I always say I'm Herbert from Herbert Street. I grew up very, very poor, but I wanted to make money. I had no cash. So I had to do deals without putting up money. So essentially, I've closed $2 billion in transactions. Of the $2 billion I closed, I would say 1/3 of those have been with New York clients. Guys like Walter Samuels and the related company, Steve Ross, and a whole bunch of guys up there.
Wow.
I'm a youth advocate itself. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. And I notice a lot of people, they want to invest in Detroit because by definition, as you know, we're the hottest spot on earth, by definition.
You're the hottest?
Real estate market, theoretically, I mean, where else can you get an 8 to 10% cap rate? Even in the good neighborhood, 8% is it used to be 9 or 10 or 11. But I'm talking about the good neighborhoods is 8%. Now, if you're downtown Detroit, yeah, you might end up at a 6% cap rate like everybody else in the world because interest rates are so low. I mean,
Right.
You could get a 30-year loan for less than 3%, So, I mean, that forces the cap rates down to 4 and 5%. The great thing about Detroit, I mean, you can borrow the same interest rate in Detroit as will be in New York or anywhere in the United States, but yet the cap rates are different. Think about it. You could borrow it a 3% or 4% debt constant, and you could buy it 8%. Where else in the world can you do that? A very difficult or almost impossible thing to do.
So what's the deal with your book? Are you trying to get people to invest in Detroit, or are you just promoting your school, or what?
Well, I want to tell you that's a good question. My book is telling people to invest safely in Detroit. Just don't rush in and do it. Partner with people. Boots on the ground is very important because the unique thing about Detroit is one neighborhood, maybe one, and you can go right across the street, and it is a completely different psychographic. The most important thing about Detroit is that you have to know the psychographic. So those people who are interested, we invite you to take our book and read it. It's called Which Way is Detroit? And go through it. It lays out every single zip code. We do want investors that have come in and joint venture with us. We think that's a great way to do business. And there's an invitation for those people who are interested in investing safely. Warren Buffett said the best investments now are. Warren Buffett's statement was just a tremendous investment, and what he recommended is buying single-family homes in Detroit, and that's the big fella. We have our free webinar. We're inviting everyone to go to StratherAcademy.com, and it will change your life.
All right, Herb, I'll take your word for it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you, Alice, and I expect to see you on there too, dear.
All right, Herb. We got to take a short break, but we're coming right back. This is the Page Publishing Book Club.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then now's the time to call Page Publishing at 800-204-6099 and do it immediately. You see, they're looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review most of the books submitted to them. And they'll even give you their feedback. And if they like what they read, Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, and other outlets. They'll handle everything. Copyright protection, printing, cover art, publicity, and editing. So if you've written a novel, a children's book, a cookbook, inspirational work, a book of poetry, or biography, and want to get it published, then you need to call Page Publishing and do it immediately. Call 800-204-6099 now for your free author submission kit. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call. For your free author submission kit, call Page Publishing at 800-204-6099.
We're back on the Page Publishing Book Club. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. No matter how much advice is out there, dealing with a family member struggling with addiction is gut-wrenching and confounding. And with that, our next author attempts to help others through her own experience in her book entitled #Family Addictions 101.
My name is Lisa Raisbeck. I am in Tucson, Arizona. The book is called #Family Addictions 101. And I wrote the book as an inspiration for a family that has been struggling with addiction. And I also worked in a crisis center and joined a online support group for mothers of addicts. And it's about 30,000 members. And as I was reading through posts and that type of thing, I just felt like people were just getting it wrong. That there are so many things that people were maybe missing about addiction and the stigma and what it means and how it gets started and that type of thing. So the book is actually geared towards family members, community members, anybody that really wants to know how to support people in the community that have addiction. It's a very short book, 101, so it's sort of this crash course in addiction as far as, learning the basics. I feel like so many people are sort of afraid of the subject because they're just not really sure how it happens, drugs are bad, and that type of thing. So I really wanted to sort of humanize it. One example I have in my book is about a bus full of children that ended up getting buried alive. They ended up getting out, but they were so happy to get out. Everybody seemed to be doing well. Everybody moved on. Nobody thought about, putting these kids in therapy and really working with them to deal with this trauma. And you fast forward 20 years and, the majority of the children had traumatic experiences enough where they did turn to drugs. Maybe they had some other mental health issues, some PTSD type of thing, and they were having a harder time integrating into society. And so if we fail to address the trauma at the time that it occurs, then we don't know what's going to happen down the road that's really going to affect that person. So I felt like just listening was a big step. And it was amazing, the things and the stories that came out of resilience. I thought, wow, I'm amazed that some of these people have even made it this far. Stories of being in gangs, sexual assault, trafficking. I also, go through stigma in there and tough love, and what that means. And so I've been sending it a lot to family and friends, different centers and agencies. I actually printed off some business cards with just the information on where to get it and that type of thing. And I've actually just gone to clinic parking lots and just put them on all the cars. So, and like I said, it's really it's not necessarily for the addicts themselves. It's for those who want to help the addict.
Right.
How can we get them out of this? How can we let them know their life matters?
All right, Lisa, thank you. If there's one thing the pandemic did for a lot of people, it gave them time. And in the case of our next author, she finally got the chance to publish a sexy thriller she wrote over 10 years ago entitled Everybody Has Secrets.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Washington. I live in a small town in Florida, Bradenton. I am a dental hygienist. And what inspired me to write this book is personal experience that happened in my life. And after reading several hundred books, which helped me cope with what I went through, I remembered how when I was a young girl, I loved writing and making up stories. And that inspired me to write my own book. Some of the stories in the book is true, but most of it is fiction. My two main characters are Davian and Shayla Jones. They are a married couple. They seem to have the perfect marriage, the perfect kid, great careers, loving parents, in-laws, and friends. They actually have siblings, but neither one of them know about the other sibling. Davian, he keeps his sibling a secret, but Shayla's parents keep her sibling a secret. So when these siblings come into their lives, all hell breaks loose.
Why did they keep the siblings secret?
The sibling was kept a secret from Shayla because it was her father's child from a mistress while he was married to her mother. Shayla's half sister, which she has no idea about, and Davian's brother, when they come back in his life.
So her half sister is Dominique?
Yes, she knows that she has a father and she knows who he is. So when she finds out who he is and realizes that Shayla is her half sister, she sets out to basically get Shayla's husband for herself. So she starts to try to do everything in her power to get Shayla, even if that means killing if anybody gets in her way. She does everything that she can to destroy Shayla's life so she can have Davian.
So Everybody Has Secrets is the name of your book.
Yes. That is basically the message that I'm trying to get across, is that everybody does have secrets. And if you keep secrets, you can end up having some destruction happen in your life. I'm actually almost done writing the sequel to this. It's going to be called Everybody Has Secrets 2. Big shocker at the end. It is very complicated. There are a lot of twists and turns in the book.
Do you enjoy writing it?
I loved writing it. It's very provocative, so my audience is adults, men and women, whoever loves to read a provocative drama. We are basically getting attention through Facebook and word of mouth, giving away free books as well. and have those people who get the books for free just help me spread the word about it. I basically keep books in my car, and whenever I'm like at grocery stores, I talk to people like, "Do you like reading?" Blah blah blah. Then I give them a book if they tell me they like to read, and I ask them to spread the word to people that they know who love to read the book. Go on Amazon and give me a review.
All right, Tiffany, looking forward to that sequel. It came to her in a dream. We've heard that so many times here on the Page Publishing Book Club, so there's got to be something to it. Because Lily Gray swears her book entitled 6-Year-Old Smarty Pants was a dream that became a reality.
Was sleeping in the bed and something came to me, and I'm a religious person, and God was talking to me and told me, write a book about children. I jumped up, and my mom and dad always told my brother and I, keep a pen and a tablet or some piece of paper next to your bed, because if God is talking to you to do something wonderful, you can jot it down, and that way it'll wake you up, and then you won't forget. That's what I did. And I started writing the book that night. It was a Friday night, and it took me from that Friday night up until Saturday evening, about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. I wrote the book, Smarty Pants. The book is about a child educator, and Smarty Pants wanted to educate all the children, have a school, and furnish the children with clothes, everything that they need, so parents wouldn't have to pay anything for their children. He wanted them to focus strictly on education. And he got them uniforms, and he had his own store at the school, and all of the teachers were children, smart children like Smarty Pants. And he also had his own garden at the school where they could grow food. He built cameras on the outside of the school so it could take pictures of any kind of evil predators, people that want to kidnap his kids. He had a security guard, everything. He furnished everything for the children. He wanted his children to be smart like him. He used to tell the children, if you don't read, you don't know anything because you'd be a big dummy. You want to be smart like me. I have a big head, but guess what? I'm smart. And I put a little humor in the book. So,
and then what made you decide to send it into Page?
Well, Page Publishing, I saw it on TV, the commercial. And so I called them.
So it just so happened that you had a dream and the story came to you. You got up, you wrote it down, and then you saw a commercial for Page Publishing and you sent it in.
Right.
Wow.
The one message I want to get across in the book is children can be whatever they want to be. And reading is so important. You have to read. If you don't read, people will take advantage of you. And like Smarty Pants say, you'll be a big dummy. And you don't want to be that. You have to read. Reading is the key to everything. I wanted to go, to the churches, and they would have let me do some kind of seminars.
Well, once the pandemic is over, maybe you can go forward with that plan.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it.
All right, that's the spirit, Lily. Finally, our next author was so inspired by our 44th president, he was compelled to write Triumphs of a Black President in a White America.
My name is Nicholas Owoyemi. I'm a financial executive, and I live on Staten Island, New York State. I'm a financial consultant for over 2 decades now. I had wanted to be an author early in life, but I never devoted the necessary time to cultivate the art of writing. So it never dawned on me until late in 2017, after the presidency of Barack Obama, when I suddenly realized that I could contribute to the national dialogue on race relations. Then I decided to write about the triumphs and travails of the first Black president in a majority white country. I wanted the world to remember that President Obama inherited a much troubled economy, but ran the country successfully without substantial contributions of Republicans that formed the majority in the U.S. Congress. The more the president moved closer to them in the middle, the further apart they moved away from him on policy matters. Secondly, many whites who never expected a Black person to reside in the White House had also expected a new Black president to mess up and fail. But the black president brought tremendous competence, compassion, and integrity to the White House like never before or after him. So another critical facet to the book is that it narrated why Donald Trump succeeded Barack Obama in such a rapidity without a break in transition. Providence had a way of revealing the characteristics of these two men who defied human supposition and became president of the United States, one after the other. They proclaimed the esoteric phenomenon inherent in human nature. Perhaps, I think, the presidential electoral expedition was divine intervention. And
Well, you say one of the questions that you answer is Donald Trump a racist?
yes, he is a racist, yes. I answered that question in the book, yes. And I cited many examples, things that he has done to show that he's racist, yes. I want to contribute to racism to demonstrate that we're all human beings, we're equal, and that whatever a white person can do, a black, a brown, or Asian person could also do, because we all have that human qualities in us. So that's what I'm trying to portray there.
Now, did you want to write this book in time for the election, or did it just kind of coincide?
Oh, it coincided. Actually, I began writing it, I think it was 2017. And off and on, to finally, I think it was late 18, I got more serious about it. And that's how it went. What I'm trying to do now is to engage more proficient experts who can help in the promotion.
All right, Nicholas, thanks so much for expressing your point of view. We get a lot of that here on the Page Publishing Book Club, a lot of different viewpoints, observations, analysis. That's what makes America great, am I right? I mean, it makes me think people get so defensive because they think, oh, that person is so wrong and they're trying to change what I think, but maybe not. Maybe just listen. If we could just listen to each other and agree to disagree on some issues, but still find common ground so we can move forward. Wouldn't that be great? Oh my gosh. What a concept. Anyway, we are out of time. So if you missed anything, just go to 710WOR.com and download the podcast. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. I'll catch you next time.